Hello, good morning. Do we have a George Monasterio here this morning?
Yes, sir. I'm
Good morning, George. How are you?
Good morning.
So you're the first case on the agenda. We're going to dig right into it.
Okay.
Okay. We want to close the door, Courtney, or we're good?
Quiet as.
It's pretty quiet, right? Okay, good morning. This is the December 14th, 2023 meeting of the Southern Region Board of Review. This hearing is being held via WebEx video conference at the Perry B. Duryea Jr. State Office Building, 250 Veterans Memorial Highway, Conference Room 4A9A, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. The time is now 9 o'clock and this hearing is officially open. The members of the board are Eric Schaub, Andrew Hames, Richard Pavone, and myself, Robert Peterson, Chairman from the Department of State, Courtney Nation, and CJ Ajoku. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. Excuse me, we may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. This petition pertains to an existing detached two-story single one-family dwelling of wood frame construction. The dwelling is approximately 1,500 square feet in total gross floor area, not including basement space or garage space, and is located at 103 Belmore Avenue, Town of Hempstead, County of Nassau, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 801.2, which states that additions shall comply with the provisions of this code, except where required by this section. Unaltered portions of the existing building shall not be required to comply with this code. And 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.2.2, which states that enclosed areas, including crawl spaces that are below the design flood elevation, shall, 1, be used solely for parking of vehicles, building access, or storage. 2, be provided with flood openings that meet the following criteria and are installed in accordance with Section R322.2.2.1. The petitioner wishes to construct small additions to the first floor that are structurally connected to the existing dwelling and are below the design flood elevation. Okay, George, tell us what's going on.
Good morning, board. George Monasterio, 59 Belmore Avenue, Point Lookout. I'm the architect for the applicant. The property is in Point Lookout, which is a barrier island in Nassau County. We are looking to, I think you had mentioned the square footage of 1,500 square feet. The house is only 970 square feet. The garage is an additional 248 square feet of a total of 1,218 square feet is the total house and garage. The houses here in Point Lookout are small. They used to be bungalows. The homeowner bought it a few years ago after Sandy. And they're looking to add an additional 52 square feet, 39 square feet in the rear and 13 square feet in the front. They're looking to square off the building. They're looking to put the kitchen in the front, and which is currently in the rear, and put the master bedroom on the first floor in the rear of the house. And due to the other walls in the house, they don't, a bedroom or the kitchen really wouldn't work with the current floor plan. So we're looking for the relief of the 52 square feet. So the finished floor will align with the existing finished floor. We are at elevation BFE of 12. The existing finished floor is 11.34. So it's 8 inches shy of the BFE. We can install flood vents in the small little square footages. If needed, we could put one on each side in the foundation.
So they're both crawl spaces, correct?
There's a crawl space below, yes.
Okay, I didn't see a foundation plan, George, in the exhibit.
I did
You had a
see one.
section.
I do have a sheet A4 which was added, and I sent it in. Let's see if I could share it.
This one.
That's a
Oh,
second,
that's a section.
yeah.
Yeah.
So each crawl space has the code required access to the crawl space?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Each of the new crawl spaces have the code required access to them?
The new
Like an
crawl
open-
space, the new crawl space will have flood vents.
What about access from the existing crawl space to the new crawl spaces that you're creating?
Yes, there is, it's in the photos, which I also sent. There is approximately 2'3" in the, under most of the house, which is a crawl space, which is actually really crawling. It's the army crawl that you have, it's sand. There is one section which has a head height of 5'7". That's storage and utilities. Current utilities are in that area, but most of the house has a crawl space of, I'm sorry, it's 1'7" is the headroom.
What kind of utilities are in that deeper?
Unfortunately, the existing utilities, the boiler, water heater, are in that crawl space. In the
Great place.
crawl space that you can stand, 5'7".
Is that what these photos are that, okay. So these photos, I thought it was, those are the crawl space, I guess.
Yeah, that's where the boiler is, and it's kind of a storage room, and
Yeah.
it's pretty
Right.
jammed.
And also, just for note, during Hurricane Sandy, water did not get into this crawl space that's there. Water came in from the north side on the bay side, which is lower. The topography is higher down by the ocean where this house is.
You know what the OEM report listed, green, yellow, or red?
I do not.
The slab that's under the floor or the crawl space under the existing house, does that drain? How does water get out of that?
They never had water in there, in that crawl space where the utilities are. And if,
Representing the current owner, and the current owner wasn't there in 2012, correct?
correct.
So how did you accumulate your data? Did you go to the prior owner or
No, the,
speak to a neighbor?
well, the neighbors to the north also didn't have water. I live here in town as well, and I live closer to the bay. I did have water in my crawl space and only in my crawl space, where I did have my utilities. But this parcel of land that we're talking about, this residence, is a block and a half from my house. So the water did not go to the corner of it. It didn't even come close to this property.
Okay, so with regard to the two additions, there's no mechanical, electrical that's going to be proposed in those additions that
No.
are below? What about like electrical outlets and stuff like that in the addition?
They will be electrical outlets. We can raise the electrical outlets to the DFE,
Which is 14 feet.
which would be 14 feet, correct?
Yeah.
So above your finished floor, that would be okay? That's 3.5 feet above the finished floor?
It would be about 2.5 feet above the finished
2.5.
floor. So the portion in the front will be the kitchen, so those outlets will be higher above counter. And depending on how the furniture lays, we may not need to put any outlets in the new 39 square feet in the rear.
You're showing on the section a new slab under the first floor for the addition
And the crawl
in
space?
the crawl space.
Yeah.
Correct.
Uh,
That'll be a slab.
is that going to be, how is that going to be drained?
We will put flood vents in there, in those,
Well, the flood vents would be above grade. But if water gets into the area below grade, into this crawl space slab, how is that gonna drain?
Houses here in Point Lookout, many houses that have basements use pumps, and they pump the water out onto the street. Um, I don't think it's required to put any drainage in the crawl space because the flood vents will allow some water to come in and the water to leave. Whatever water is left over would have to be removed mechanically.
Mr. Hames
Which you
is
can't
commenting,
get to.
yeah, the grade is right.
It's right near
Yeah, so how would that work?
that's not gonna work. If water comes in through a flood vent, it's gonna sit down there and area is not accessible. I think that bottom slab has to be, have provisions for draining. Whether it's a sump
Right, it would be a sump pump.
or just an opening in the slab that lets it drain into the soil.
What if you raise the slab, George? What if you raise it up to where the slab is up close to grade?
Do you need a slab there at all?
Or
Yeah.
just do a monolithic concrete pour, don't use crawl spaces. I don't want to design for you, but
No, you're right. We could raise it up to, well, how far do we
it's not a
raise it up to?
containment, it's not a containment area for anything that, any floodwaters that come in, and it would just recede out the flood vents at grade.
Right, so we could raise the slab to the bottom of the flood vent. So therefore, there's no room below the flood vent.
I think also a hole, an opening in the slab to let any standing water drain
Drain down into the soil.
down into the soil would, because you really can't access it. Some pump has to be accessible and maintained, and you can't get in there.
Right, the smaller addition, the 12 square feet would be difficult. The rear, where it has the larger square footage, we would be able to, but I think you're right. I think if we just, the rest of the crawl space is sand. My old house was sand as well. And other than sandy, the water came and left, so it drained pretty quickly.
Yeah, if it's sand, then that'll drain, but.
Right.
So we're talking
you have a
about-
concrete slab there, it's not gonna drain, so, my recommendation would be to eliminate the slab.
Keep it sand.
Yeah,
Or you could do
Okay.
like RCA or something like that.
whatever, yeah,
Yes, so we could put crushed stone.
And
yeah.
there's no issue of, because we're talking about surface water, any issue with hydrostatic pressure, like water coming up through?
No, there is with the slab, actually.
Okay,
If you don't have a slab, then
okay.
it comes right
There's
up.
no concern of groundwater like coming up from underneath where you need to design for hydrostatic pressure? We're just talking about
No,
surface water coming in and receding, right?
yeah,
Correct.
So if it contains in there, then if there's no slab, it would just go through the gravel, whatever, in the sand.
right.
Okay. So you're not opposed to that, George?
No, actually,
Okay.
that's what most of the houses here in Point Lookout have is the just sand, and not even the rat slab. There's no slab, but yes, we could put the crushed stone under.
All right, and typically, we had a few of these cases where I think flood-resistant construction is required for anything below. Is that FEMA requirement, Mr. Courtney?
Yes, it is. It's a code, yeah.
Okay. Any issue with doing that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Flood-resistant construction below the DFE?
No, we would use flood resistant materials.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members?
No, that's,
Erica?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go talk this out and we'll be right back, George.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So do I stay online? I haven't done
Yeah,
this
hang
before.
tight. Well, probably 15 minutes.
Okay, great. Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we're back on the record. Okay, George, you there?
I am.
Okay, we got some reading to do. Okay, with respect to petition number 2023, actually, before I get started, George, we had a question on the square footage that you clarified in the hearing. You had said that the first floor was 970 and the garage was 240 for 1,219?
18, yes.
18? Was there a second floor included in that number?
There is a second, no, the number, the square footage for the second floor is 504.
So I think,
Maybe that's the number that you guys were using.
yeah, because we had a GFA number of 1,500 on the summary.
Okay,
So what does that equate to? 17,
that's 17.
17?
Shouldn't include the
22.
garage.
Yeah, just to be accurate. Okay. Okay, with respect to petition number 2023-0315, petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 801.2, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.2.2. The board makes the following findings. Number one, the subject dwelling is located in a flood hazard zone AE12. Number two, the existing first floor elevation is 11.34 NAVD88, and the base flood elevation is 12 NAVD88, according to an elevation certificate submitted with this application. The required design flood elevation is 14 feet NAVD88 upon addition of the New York State freeboard. Number three, petitioner wishes to make a relatively small one-story addition of approximately 39 square feet to the rear of the dwelling. This addition will enlarge an existing bedroom on the habitable first floor. Number four, the petitioner also wishes to make a small one-story addition of approximately 13 square feet to the front of the dwelling. This addition will enlarge an existing kitchen on the habitable first floor. Number five, these additions are not considered a substantial improvement by themselves nor coupled with any other incidental construction taking place with this permit application. Number six, compliance with section R322 of the Residential Code of New York State would require elevation of the floor of the small additions to be approximately 2.66 feet above the current floor elevation. This is impractical as the floor elevations need to align. Number seven, the FEMA publication titled Substantial Improvements, Substantial Damage Desk Reference would allow such small additions to be made without the need for elevation of the floor above the base flood elevation. Number eight, the dwelling has an existing unfinished underfloor space which is accessed from a subterranean door in an areaway. The petitioner had stated in testimony that there was no water infiltration to the dwelling as a result of Sandy storm. Number nine, the local code official has given support to the petitioner's request for a variance to the Uniform Code flood requirements in this matter. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the section AJ 801.2 and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, section R322.2.2, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would entail a change so slight as to produce a negligible additional benefit consonant with the purpose of the code and would be physically or legally impractical. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. So wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from the provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 801.2 and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section R322.2.2 be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Number one, that the addition by itself or coupled with any other incidental construction taking place with this permit application shall not be a substantial improvement. Number two, that all materials for the addition and all new construction below the DFE, the design flood elevation, of 14 shall be flood resistant. Number three, that flood vents shall be installed as per code in both additions and the area under the floor shall be drainable. Number four, that any new electrical and mechanical equipment shall be located above the design flood elevation. Number five, that there shall be no opening between the rear addition and the adjacent garage. And number six, that in all other respects, the applicable provisions of the Uniform Code shall be complied with. I need a motion to approve with these conditions.
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specification presented in support of this application. Okay, George, those were our 6 conditions. Any questions?
Nope, I jotted them down. I do
Great.
thank the board.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay, one down.
That's one number 03. So
Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
No, I was just talking to the next petitioner, not you, Crystal. Crystal, you're on after this next hearing, 0386. I just want to make sure that you're there.
because the motion and the second is to move it,
Yeah.
and then the vote is everybody.
Yes.
Whatever your decision.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
We're gonna
Oh,
do the cricket and neck now?
that's, well, at least I can see.
Yeah, I just don't want to see my,
Now I can see Eric.
my screens. Can you see the screens? Come on.
Okay. So. Second.
Yeah. So we have Mr. Chris Jurek.
Anybody here?
I'm not on mute. I'm just trying to get my thing
Oh.
booted up here. This is 0386, Mr. Chris Jurek. I think you're on mute, Mr. Jurek. This is 45 Marlboro, right?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Morning.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hope everyone's doing well.
Great. So we're going to read this into the record and then we'll give you the floor, okay? Okay, the second hearing is in the matter of petition number 2023-0386. The petitioner is Chris Jurek, the owner. All right. This petition pertains to a variance for an existing detached dwelling, construction type of 5B, 22.2 feet in height, 3 stories above a basement, approximately 3,715 square feet in total floor area, including basement areas, located at 45 Marlborough Court, Village of Rockville Center, County of Nassau, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, which states, space created in basements may have a ceiling that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights in spaces and basements shall not be reduced. Petitioner is seeking a variance to allow ceiling heights in the basement and the headroom at the existing basement stairway that are less than allowed. Okay, Mr. Jurek, you're up.
Sure. Hi, my name's Christopher Urick, 45 Marlborough Court, Rockville Center, New York, 11570, and I am the property owner. My wife and I, we purchased this home back in March of 2016. The house is built in around 1930s, 1931, 32. It's a Tudor, and it's got a sunken living room, and this affects the basement. When we bought the house, the basement was finished, and included in my write-up is a picture of the basement from the listing. And one more thing to point out, because of the sunken living room, the basement is essentially split into 2 halves, one side under the living room and one side under the dining room. The living room side is just over 6.5 feet, and the dining room side is around 7 feet. And there's a beam that runs in between the two, supporting the house. And has to be lower than the living room side in order to support the joists. You know, and just a little history, one of the problems with the house was that it had a lot of cold spots, so we decided to upgrade all of our existing heating systems with forced hot air. We took down portions of the ceiling and we ran, you know, ductwork through in between the joists, going from one side to the other side. And for reference, the joists run parallel to the lights you see in that picture, and we installed the ductwork in between. Then we decided to do some work on the first floor, and one of the decisions we made was to remove a wall separating the den from the kitchen. And in order to do that, we needed to install a beam in the basement, you know, further sort of ripping up the finished basement. And while we were bidding contractors to provide pricing on the first floor, showed everyone the basement. And I asked for pricing to dig down in order to make the basement bigger. And everyone's reaction was, whoa, you're now entering a whole nother price point, and said it was very expensive, to the tune, you know, tens of thousands, very expensive. You know, I still wanted to do it, but with all the other work, I just couldn't afford it, put it into my budget. And I wanted to make sure that we had enough money to also add that egress, which we ended up doing, and even that was very expensive. You know, post-COVID prices, whatever, everything's out of control expensive. So anyway, we thought that since the basement was finished before, we would stick with the exact same footprint of everything. We kept the beam in the exact same spot, and we just finished off the walls. So I know that that beam is a little bit lower than we would like it to do. So we were willing to prevent the flow of traffic under the beam. We were thinking to put up an accordion style like wall divider to separate the two halves. I would also put up, you know, I put in a picture like that thick baby proofing corner cushion around all the edges of the beam, or really any edges. And I would want to do it a different color so that it stands out from the white walls. And then along the back wall, we had to extend the HVAC return to accommodate changes to the first floor. And there's really not much else we would do here besides put in built-in shelving. It would allow us to fully maximize that space, and it would also prevent anyone from going underneath.
Okay.
So, any questions?
Are you finished? Yeah, yeah, we have some questions. I'm a little unclear on the path still. So when you undertook your first floor renovation, you went downstairs to upgrade a beam in the basement and you did some removal work down there to do that work? Is that correct? Or you didn't do that work because it was too expensive?
No, the part that was too expensive was digging down.
Okay,
We had to replace the beam that was there with another beam to support the house.
is that the low beam we're talking about?
Correct.
And, okay, so at that time, did you get a permit for that work? Why wasn't that beam installed at the proper 6'4" height and not the 5'8"?
Because of the way that the sunken living room and the joists, it had to support that, and we couldn't upturn the beam, couldn't do anything to really hide that beam.
Couldn't have been upset in, to the floor level, the lower floor level, to make it
Well,
higher?
because of the way the living room joists are, it's got to sit underneath it, right?
See, the joists typically, and you showed, sit on top of the beam, but they
Right.
could be framed into the beam.
Is your design professional with you today? Or is it just you today?
It's just me today.
All right, so I think there is an engineering solution. At the time, you could have probably brought that beam up and got that 8 inches that you needed. Mr. Hames is saying, you know, he's an engineer himself. That beam could have been upset into one of the floors and then took the higher floor on top of it. It could have been engineered in a way that you met the code at that time. So that's why I asked, did you get a building permit, or it was all done without oversight from the building department?
No, we had an architect come through and we submitted everything. I didn't even know that was, quite honestly, an option.
So what's the relevance of the photo with the bookcase that shows like an outside or a doorway or a slider?
That's, I
We
think
were
that's
trying
the
to prevent
broken.
the flow of traffic between underneath the beam. So that's what that wall divider is meant to.
No, we,
No, Mr. Pavone is talking about the nice photo. Looks like it was digitally enhanced that shows the bookcase.
That was a sample of what
Yeah.
he wants to put.
That's a sample.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That we would envision something like that in that backspace underneath that soffit
okay.
On the
That was just meant to-
HVAC duct, yeah.
for illustrative
So
purposes.
that would prevent anybody from going underneath that, the HVAC ductwork.
Correct.
It's not a bad solution for that area.
You're talking about an accordion type divider under a portion of the wall or the beam. Just divide the spaces. In my mind, that's kind of flimsy and easily removed. Would you consider a solid wall or half wall there to divide that and prevent people from to limit the space where somebody can walk under the room to just one door opening?
Like a trimmed opening, whether it's 4 or 5 feet wide. And then whoever traverses that, they're actually going through an opening rather than, running around the full basement, having the ability to bump your head. Right, like a doorway, right, without a door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so to the right of that beam, you're saying would be open, to the left of that beam would be putting more of a permanent wall?
Yes.
I'd be open to it. I kind of, I feel like my timing on this was a little backwards. I wish we had discussed a lot of this beforehand. I'd be open to it. I'd prefer towards doing that accordion style wall. Because I'm still recovering from all the expense outlay to build a basement or to do the whole property in the first place.
So the emergency means of egress window well is already there?
The egress is installed, yes.
So the building department, did they issue a building permit for the renovation of the basement? Or are they waiting for this board to opine on the heights?
They are awaiting this board decision.
How did the construction get this far?
We weren't gonna do the basement when we first started. We were only gonna do the first floor. And we had moved out of the house, and honestly, we were getting concerned with when we were gonna give up our rental and when we were gonna move back into the house. And we were just gonna put up walls in the basement and hopefully give ourselves another little living space if we had to move back into the house. We submitted permits to the town, to the village. That said, we originally were gonna do this, then we were adding on the basement. And that's how we ended up here.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have a problem with the ceiling height. I don't think it's too much of a departure from code. Yeah, it's really this beam, and this beam, if you have an open rec room, to have the beam bifurcate that rec room at a 5'8" height, it's low. So Mr. Hames make a suggestion that you put a permanent wall in maybe half up to the column, and then you circulate around that wall now you have 2 spaces rather than one open rec room. You put the egress window in, which is good. And now you got this large duct along the back wall, and the drawings don't dimension how far that comes off the wall. So I don't know if there's a bookshelf that's going to solve that problem, because it looks pretty substantial in the plan, like 5 feet.
It's not 5 feet. I actually
Do you
don't.
have a dimension for us?
I'm sorry, I don't, but I know it's not 5 feet off that wall.
Well, it jogs, so maybe the
It could be a
part, but
bookshelf. It could be more of a just built-in shelving that comes out and meets that, so that we could still utilize that space. And that beam, I know the plans say 5'8". I had a picture of a ruler. I had taken it, and it was more like 5'9.5".
So yeah, that's a good point, because I think in our documents, I have a 5'8" on the section and then a 5'10" on the plan. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe it's 5'8" to the drywall and 5'10" to the beam? Or is it,
5'10" to the beam and then 5'9.5" to the drywall.
This is here.
and where was that tape measure taken from? Is that the HVAC duct?
No, that's that beam that runs through the middle of the
That's the
room.
beam.
Oh, that's the beam.
But the beam looks like it has a notch in it, right?
The original one,
Oh, that's the original?
Which-
Okay.
which is not good.
No, this could all been avoided if you procured proper permits and did the work. So now we're kind of in this position where you're asking us to grant relief that runs with the property, even if you sell it. So we're trying to find some kind of
I
acceptable.
apologize for that. I
Yeah.
assume, and I know assuming is a terrible thing, that it was a finished basement the way it was prior, and we just kept to the same footprint.
Yeah, we get a lot of these because people, build out their basements without permits. And then when they go to sell, they get nabbed. So, we also have a variance request for the basement stairway. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Is that, wasn't that in,
No,
no?
Basement stairway is the same height as that other picture I took, which is just over 6'5".
Okay, I'm
You're
mistaken.
talking about the bottom of the basement stairway?
Oh, I'd say the petitioner is seeking relief for variance for ceiling heights in the basement and the headroom at the existing basement stairway that are less than allowed.
That's it.
Excuse me?
I don't think that was meant to be.
Okay. So we have compliance at the stair.
It's the same as it was, it's the existing.
Okay, so that's gonna be struck from the
Yeah.
relief, okay. All right, so the board have any other questions? How much money did you spend on the first floor? For the renovation? Mr. Jordan, do we have any costs, financial
Over,
hardship?
over 250.
Did that include the basement work or that was just the first floor?
So the first floor would have been like 200.
Okay. And you spent about 50,000 in the basement. I'm just checking my notes. There's a gas-fired boiler down there in the closet. You have smoke
Correct.
detector and CO2 down there.
Correct. Right by the wall, huh?
And that's the original location of the mechanical equipment room near the stairs? Or is that where you placed it under the new renovation?
That is where we placed it not under the new renovation, when we wanted to upgrade our heating in the house. That's where we put it.
Okay, I'd like to go back to the discussion of the opening. So were you amenable to doing that, or are you really resistant to that? We can't really approve anything that would be temporary, that could be easily removed, because it's very difficult to control behavior. So at 5, 9.5, with a padded opening, what would be a good opening, Andy?
3 or 4 feet.
Like a door?
Yeah,
Okay. In the area of the column, probably you can hide the column.
could be.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Well, just talking it out, but
Oh, sure.
discussing the willingness to do an opening and build a permanent wall. So a person would only be negotiating a 3 or 4 foot opening to go under that beam, which would be padded. And it'd be easier to navigate,
It would also limit kids or anybody from running around.
running around and
from
hitting
one
their head.
area to the other and
Yeah,
potentially hitting their head, yes.
it'd be like a trimmed
Yeah,
opening between the two spaces.
So you're from the column to the wall, sort of? That's
Any
what
way
you're
you
saying?
want, really.
The opening could be anywhere along that column.
Oh, so walling off the entire thing and just having a doorway in between.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be a door, it could just be an opening.
and it doesn't necessarily have to be a full height wall. It could be a half height too,
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, there you go.
just to
Yeah, I
prevent
would,
people from,
right.
It's a good suggestion.
Good compromise,
yeah.
You understand, Mr. Jurek? You know, you can keep it,
Maintains an open feeling.
correct.
yeah.
And how tall would that half height wall need to be roughly?
Half height wall,
Like 3
probably
feet?
about 4 feet,
4 to
3 to 4 feet.
3 to 4. So you're saying kind of like keep it on the ground and then you can still see through, so it gives it
Yeah.
that feel still?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
talk to your architect. You could design something nice where you have columns that sit on top of it. Maybe you can make it bookshelves in there, but something that's physically permanently constructed that would prevent the flow underneath the beam. And then you'd have your 4-foot opening in the middle, let's say, and the low walls would flank each side.
And it still give you the opening. to be
It
able
still
to-
give you the visual openness of the basement.
Got it. I would be open to that.
Okay.
Sure.
The light fixtures are flush with the ceiling, so that's not an issue with the 6.6. Anything else we usually look at with basement?
The area where the mechanical equipment is that fire rated construction?
Mr.
That fire rating.
Mr. O'Connell's plans show a note that has 5/8 type X
Type
chipboard,
X.
and then the doors are B-lit, which is actually 90-minute.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that answers your question.
Yeah, I just couldn't read it.
Yeah, it's kind of small. Okay. Erica, any questions? Anybody else have any other questions?
Gonna have ventilation in that mechanical area?
Mr. Jurek, do you know if there's any ventilation in that mechanical area? I think the Navions usually draw fresh air
Directly?
from the outside, yeah.
Yes, correct. There's a pipe that goes, again, through the joist to the outside.
Okay.
Okay.
2 pipes for ventilation.
Okay, hang tight. We'll be right back with a decision. Okay? Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we're good to go. I have a question for Mr. Jurek first before we get started. This is just for me. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think Mr. O'Connell had 2-story dwelling on his drawings. The application had 2.5 stories. Can you just tell me what's on each floor? So I just want to get a handle on the stories of the structure. You have a 2nd story, and then what's above that? Like an attic?
An attic, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the half
That's not
story.
really a dwelling.
Is it a finished attic or?
Just
so
storage.
It's not a 3-story. It's a 2-story. So just in the record, I guess, when we do that, okay. Okay, on the record, with respect to petition number 2023-0386, Mr. Chris Jurek, the petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1. The board makes the following finding. Number 1, the dwelling that is the subject of this determination has a basement that is finished. Number 2, the basement layout in the drawing shows a mechanical closet, a recreation room, and a laundry room. Number 3, there are no provisions for sleeping or cooking in the basement drawings. Number 4, the finished basement has 2 sections. One section has a ceiling height of approximately 6 foot 6 inches, and the other has a ceiling height of approximately 6 feet 11 inches. Number 5, the finished ceiling height in the 6 foot 6 inch section does not satisfy the 6 foot 8 inch allowance of AJ 601.3 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State. Number 6, structural girders will project below the proposed finished ceiling planes in the basement. These basement projections will have a minimum finished headroom of approximately 5 foot 8 inches. Number 7, painting and padding these projections in a color that contrasts to that of the ceiling will call attention to the obstruction and alert persons to avoid the low headroom condition. Number 8, To further mitigate the 5-foot 8-inch headroom, the petitioner proposes to install baby-proof type cushioning at the lower edges of the central projections. The petitioner also proposed installing room dividers below the girders to prevent passage underneath. Number 9, other projections below the ceiling are located against the outer wall of the basement. The petitioner proposes to install cabinetry or shelving at these locations to prevent persons from coming into contact with these projections. Number 10, the primary means of egress in this layout would be from the basement up an interior set of stairs to an exit door. A window opening for emergency use has been installed in the basement to supply a second way out. Number 11, installing electrically wired smoke alarms within the basement connected to similar devices located on the main level of the building would, if properly maintained, provide warning to persons using the basement in advance of a smoke-related emergency. Number 12, a carbon monoxide detector is required at this level due to the presence of a boiler in the basement. So, with respect to section AJ 601.3, exception 1, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would be physically or legally impractical. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from the provisions of section AJ 601.3, exception 1, be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Condition number 1, that electrically wired smoke alarms shall be installed and maintained throughout the basement in accordance with section R314 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State and connected to similar devices located throughout the main level of the building. Number 2, that an emergency escape and rescue opening shall be maintained at the basement level. Number 3, that the basement shall not be used for cooking or sleeping. This shall be stated on the certificate of occupancy that is issued by the authority having jurisdiction in this matter. Number 4, that a full height wall or a minimum 3-foot high low wall shall be installed under the central girder with a maximum 4-foot opening or passage between the two areas. The beam at the opening for passage shall be padded and marked with contrasting color. Number 5, that the overhead projections along the basement walls that have a headroom of less than 6 feet shall have a permanent built-in cabinetry or shelving placed underneath to prevent persons from coming into contact with these projections. Number 6, that all ceiling-mounted lighting in the basement shall be recessed above the ceiling plane. 7, that the basement shall conform to all other applicable requirements of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, including but not limited to the requirements of carbon monoxide detection and handrails. Need a motion to approve with these conditions?
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Erica, aye. Okay, motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. So you got your approval with those conditions? You have any questions?
Just one for a formality. So this then goes to the village, who then comes and checks it out? Is that how that works? Is that next steps?
The regional office gets it up to Albany and they prepare and send it back for signature. So usually it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
It's been going to 4 to 6 weeks. It could be with the holidays, maybe 2 months. So I would just check with the regional office here and once you get that, it goes to the municipality.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sound good? Okay. Have a good holiday.
You as well.
Thank
Take care.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay.
Do that one. Go.
I'm gonna try and get this up on the internet here. Do we have a Crystal Miller with us?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
We're not gonna see you? Oh, there we are.
Sorry.
How are you? That's okay. So you're the last case. I'm gonna read some stuff into the record and then I'll give you the mic and you can tell us what everything's going on. Okay?
Yep.
All right. We on the record? Okay. The third hearing is in the matter of petition number 2023-0431. The petitioner is Home Church. Crystal Miller is the tenant. This petition pertains to 1,800 square foot tent erected on a lot at 298 Neighborhood Road. I believe that's Mastic Beach, Town of Brookhaven, County of Suffolk, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 3103.5, which states that temporary tents, air-supported, air-inflated, or tensioned membrane structures shall not be erected for a period of more than 180 days within a 12-month period. Petitioner wishes to maintain a tent structure in a place for more than a consecutive 180 days. 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 3103.8.2, which states that tents or membrane structures shall not be located within 20 feet of lot lines, buildings, other tents or membrane structures, parked vehicles, or internal combustion engines. For the purpose of determining required distances, support ropes and guy wires shall be considered as part of the temporary membrane structure or tent. The petitioner wishes that a tent operational for more than 180 days be allowed to be less than 20 feet from adjacent buildings and lot lines. Okay, Ms. Miller, you're up.
Can I let
What's going
Joe?
on? Excuse me?
Am I able to let our lawyer speak? He's on here.
Sure, they just gotta put their name and office location on the record and.
Yes, good morning, sir. My name is Joseph Johnson, and I'm not acting as an attorney. I can't, I'm on the board for Home Church, but I currently sit as a referee in family court, so I'm not here operating under an attorney capacity, but I do have full familiarity with the application, as I did aid Ms. Miller in submitting all the application, along with working in conjunction with the town to make sure that everything was consistent with the fire marshal's requirements. I will state that in 2020, we did apply for the temporary structure, the tent, to go up, and it was fully inspected by the fire marshal. We also had the village fire marshal come down from Mastic Beach. So we had somebody from the town as well as Mastic Beach. They came down, they asked us to put in a sub-electrical panel, which they gave us the drawings, they gave us the specifications, and we submitted that. We also made sure that we had the necessary fire prevention tools within the tent. And we had the tent erected.
Mr. Johnson, I don't have any of that information in our application. Do we have any approvals for what jurisdiction is this in?
It's in the town of Brookhaven.
It's in the town of Brookhaven. So they're the governing municipality, not the village?
No, the village is defunct. So the
Okay.
village closed and it went back to the town.
Okay, I'll let you finish your presentation and then we'll hit you with some questions.
Of course, thank you. So after that point, we did submit in writing to all of the neighbors to see if they had any objection to the tent. Nobody sent anything to the town from what we were told. At the time, I was working with Ed Flood from the town, who's no longer with the township. He's now Congressman Ed Flood, but at the time, he was helping us reach out to all of the neighbors to make sure that nobody had any objection to the erection of the tent. The tent was put up and has been there for a little over 2 years. We received the ticket back in, I believe it was 2021 later or early 2022. And when we did receive the ticket, we reached out again to Mr. Flood. Mr. Flood stated that what we would need to do, because the town didn't have specific codes regarding the tent, that we would have to ask for a variance, which is why we submitted this application. So the variance is really looking for lack of a better term, to buy us time, as the church is currently in the process of seeking funding to purchase a bigger building, because we do have office space, which is the lot next to the lot where the tent is, but it's not large enough to accommodate the congregation.
What is that present congregation?
The congregation, right now, we have consistently approximately 120 people meeting on Sundays.
Where did the congregation meet prior to the tent going up?
So prior to the tent, we were able to rent a hall, but once COVID hit, they stopped doing rentals. and that was in Mastic Beach, located at the Mastic Beach property owners. So we needed to find another way of the congregation meeting. So we started with outside services in the parking lot. We had just an awning overhang, but then we did purchase the tent and we went through the town to put up the tent.
And what did the town tell you when did you, apologize, did you secure a permit from the town to put the tent up?
The official answer to that is no, because they said that it wasn't a permit. It was basically to make sure that the tent was safe and appropriate for COVID.
Do you have any
So
copies
that's-
of those documents?
No, there was no, there was no application. So we wanted to make sure that everything was done appropriately. So that's why we reached out to the town and we had the fire marshal come, and he was the one who told us to put in the electrical sub panel. And we did write letters to all of the neighbors, and with the town's assistance, asked them if they had any objection, and nobody submitted any written objections to the tent.
What does the electrical sub panel do? What is it feeding?
It's just, we have audio and visual and lights. So it's, I don't know the exact ampage in there. It might be a 110. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't do it. We had an electrician come and do it. But it is separate. It's in the back of the tent, and we do have a fire suppression system right by the sub panel. And it's also not where the general public sits. It's behind the altar. So that's where the panel is. And again, it's really just for cameras, speakers, and we have some string lights in the tent.
Is
You
there-
mentioned, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Do you have an underwriter certificate from on the electrical installation?
Yes, we did provide that to the town.
And I gotta back up a little bit. I'm just trying to get my timeline in my head. So there was a lot of latitude that was extended by most municipalities when the pandemic hit, and there was a lot of assembly going on in these tents. So just so I understand, in December 2020, is that the date?
Yes,
You erected the tent without a permit? At what time did the town get involved and when this ticket was issued? So just give me that journey so I understand.
yeah, so we erected the tent with the understanding from the town that we were erecting the tent.
And they did not issue a permit?
No, they did not issue a permit. They said because it was COVID, they weren't issuing permits. There was several restaurants in the area that had tents outside, and they said they just wanted to make sure that it was safe and appropriate. And that's why we double checked and did everything that the fire marshal asked us to do, along with, you know, as I said, I was working with Mr. Flood. He was in the legal department at the time from the town of Brookhaven.
And what ticket did they issue you, and when was that?
So they issued the ticket, and Crystal, you might have the ticket on you. I believe it was in 2022, and the ticket was, from what I've been told, the ticket is because the tent was too close to the property line.
So it was a zoning violation and it wasn't any other violation? You have a copy of that? We could,
No, that's not zoning. There's a code
It could be both.
it
requirement.
could be both.
It could be both,
It could be
yeah,
both.
that's true.
Do you have a copy of that?
I don't have a copy right now, but it wasn't actually a code violation because there is no code for the tent. Yeah.
Yes, there is.
No, she's probably alluding to the
In the
zoning code.
town. Yeah.
Oh,
The town zoning code. Obviously, there's some fire codes. There's
So they
definitely
issued
code.
you a summons, is that correct?
Yes.
A hearing ticket?
They've been in court. And then, I guess Mr. Pavone is asking, what did the ticket say? Was it erecting a tent without a permit? Was it a zoning violation? What was the ticket for?
From what I've been told from our attorney who's handling the Brookhaven ticket matter, it was because it's zoning, the tent was too close to the property line.
Right.
And
Okay.
what was told in court was that we need to get the variance from the state in order to resolve the ticket.
Well, we don't do zoning. We're in the
Ah.
building code, and the fire code. So let's get into those life safety features. So you said the fire marshal was out there. He asked you to do some things. Can we talk about those things?
Of course,
You have how many people inside the tent?
the most we have is 100 well, there's kids inside the building. So the most we would have in the tent is approximately 100.
Okay, and you have how many exits out of the tent? If you have exits, proper
So
exits?
we do have exits, the openings, we have 4.
Are they physical hinge doors or are they just flaps?
No, they're flaps, and we open up two of them, and we have the other two unbuckled.
And they have exit signs above them.
Exit signs with emergency lighting on it? Like those little
No,
bug lights?
they're the glow in the dark, they're translucent, so they do, but they're all posted above the entrances.
What type of heating are you using?
So there is, when we use heating, which, we've been pretty fortunate so far, but when we use heating, we do have a duct system, an external heater outside in the parking lot that does pump in warm air.
And what is the combustion source of the heating system?
It's a diesel fuel heater.
And you said before that you have a fire alarm system. Could you articulate that a little more detail, please?
So we have just regular detectors in there, and then we have say 8 fire extinguishers, and they're 2 different grades. I know I don't know much about the fire extinguishers, but I do know that they're 2 different types, and they're split evenly between the front and the back of the tent.
Are the 8 devices or detectors that you stated, were they installed under the direction of the marshal's office by a central station system, or they just, for the lack of a better phrase, a Home Depot or Lowe's
Yeah,
alarm?
they're, for lack of a better phrase, they're the Home Depot, Lowe's sort of alarms. They're not hooked up to any central registration system.
Okay.
Okay, I know we've been going back and forth, but I just have some notes. I'm trying to check my boxes. I don't want to speak for the other board members, but when are your functions in the tent? Is it just Sundays?
Yes, so
They're
we
more
we
than-
have had some special events, but those are rare. And in the warmer months, we normally hold those outside the tent. We would use the lot. And for most of our prayer meetings and stuff like that, and all of the administrative tasks, we're able to use the building that we have. So the tent is predominantly just for services on Sundays.
How many services?
1 service.
One service. So one service every Sunday.
Yes.
Would the church be amenable to a fire watch? Someone there present to watch during the service?
Oh,
And when
yeah,
it's over?
and we've offered that to the municipality.
This is the Spanish interpreter. I have.
I'm sorry? Somebody speaking?
That was Erica. You
Erica, go
say
ahead.
that again?
It wasn't me.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So, I mean, that's something that could be considered to allow this tent to remain. You want this tent to remain for an extended period of time, but I don't see any application for how long?
So we weren't sure when we submitted the application because I was working with the town legal department, and they advised us not to put an end date on the application, and that it would normally be considered for 1 year. As I stated, we are in the process of seeking funding to purchase a permanent structure and building in the area, but we haven't been able to yet.
So this
You
is,
say, go ahead.
so this is where you guys generally meet. Like there's no building right now. So this is where the church is currently meeting.
Correct. The
And-
normal Sunday services happen in the tent. Prayer services and other smaller meetings happen in the office, which is just adjacent to the lot with the tent.
And do you do any fire drills, evacuation? Like, hey, if we have an issue, this is where you have to evacuate from with them?
So
or-
we have done that with the board and the leadership teams, and we have worked with our lead usher, and he's worked with everybody who's been trained to take care of if there was an emergency. So everyone on the leadership team and everyone who serves knows where the fire extinguishers are, knows exactly how to orderly get everyone out of the tent in the case there was an emergency. And as I said, when we start the services, we make sure that all of the entrances and exits are unfastened and at least 2 of them are completely open.
And I have one last question. I know you said the fire marshal, was it the town of Brookhaven fire marshal, or was it, does Mastic have their own?
So, it was the town of Brookhaven Fire Marshal that recommended us putting in the electrical sub panel. And when we did that, they did come and look at it and they said, okay, great, this is exactly, because they didn't want extension cords running from the building to the tent. So that's why they wanted us to put in the electrical sub panel. We also did reach out to the fire department because they're pretty much our neighbors. They're right across the street from where the tent is. And we asked them if they would be so kind as to come over and help us to make sure that everything that we put in would be up to snuff, because getting the Brookhaven Town Fire Marshal out there was not always easy. So they came over and helped us to make sure that everything that we put in was up to code.
I lied. I have one more question. And what is your timeline on purchasing a permanent structure?
So we are hopeful. I'm sure, Crystal's biting her tongue as I say this, but we are hopeful that it would be this coming spring. We are working on financing that, but we just don't have it yet.
Thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
another question. It says in number 3, it says the church provides hot meals for families every 6 weeks for the community in the tent. What is the source of either heating the food? What type, what are you doing? Is it brought in microwave, or is it hot already? Or are you using some type of warming trays with sternos?
No,
So-
anytime oh, sorry, Joe. I didn't know you were still
So
here.
at the time, that was when we were doing Feeding Hope, and we were feeding a lot of families in the area because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So now we, at most, every 2 months, we'll have some sort of gathering, and the food is brought in hot and served to everyone at the table. So we don't have separate heating elements for that. We did do an event during the summer, but it was a barbecue outside, and it was outside the tent.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Do you use candles during your service?
No,
No candles, okay. Is the lot used for parking?
the lot is used for parking, not on Sundays. So we do have, I believe there's 3 or 4 people who are handicapped, and we have the ushers escort them in and park right up to the building. Other than that, we do rope it off on Sundays. So there's no parking in the lot when we do have the congregation meeting.
Okay. Another question I wanted to ask was about the tent structure itself. Was there an engineer involved? The manufacturer, are they able to certify the structural integrity of the tent? Is that possible?
I know we submitted everything from the tent company that we had, but no, it wasn't an engineer. It was something that we found online and erected it. And we did have one of our congregants, he's a builder, so he was the one spearheading putting it up, but
Okay. If there was a path to approval, that might be one of the conditions.
Yeah.
understood.
In the product specs, it says that the tent can, did you go over this? Did I miss this? Did you mention that the 300
Oh,
person seating?
no, I didn't.
Yeah, the manufacturer spec says you can seat up to 300 people.
Yes,
in the tent.
Yes,
Is that physically possible?
yes, but we
it
have,
is. If we squeezed everybody in there, I probably wouldn't attend. That's way too many people. But it is possible. The spacing of it right now is extremely roomy. We have plenty of space between the rows of seats. And as I said, when we have the kids join for service, like for Christmas service, all the families will be together. We get maybe 120 people in there.
Okay. So back to if this is a temporary tent that by code is permitted to be 180 days, obviously you're well beyond that. If there was an approval or a path to approval, like I said before, there would be a time frame. And you're not helping us with that time frame. I haven't heard anything with regards to how much longer you need to be able to use this facility, this tent.
Well, they said hopefully spring.
Hopefully spring, is that what?
Yes, that's our goal. So I would respectfully request a 1-year variance and hope that we don't need the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I had all my questions answered.
I think I'm okay right now.
Okay. So you don't have any kind of violation that cites what the fire marshal wanted you to do
No,
to appease them? Okay, because it's something that it would be helpful for us to know, the stuff that they need to see for you to demonstrate code compliance.
well, and that was the thing, what we put in was at the bequest of the fire marshal. So the ticket isn't regarding the electrical sub panel or not having enough fire extinguishers. From what I've been told from council, the ticket is solely the tent is too close to the property line.
And what do they want it set at?
They wanted
feet?
it set where it would be in the middle of the lot. So it would have to, so the lot would no longer be usable. And they said they can't issue a variance because they don't have a particular code that governs tents, and that's why their legal department helped us with filing this application.
I just find it hard to believe that they don't have a zoning code for accessory structures.
They're treating it like it's a temporary structure.
Yeah.
But even then, a temporary structure, they allowed it to be where it is today, assuming they allowed it to be. And now they're coming back and saying, no, they can't, it's something's missing.
What's the fire code for the setback? 12?
That was 20.
It says,
Oh, I just read it into the.
Yeah.
from lot line, buildings or other tent members.
So I believe it's 20.
Or internal combustion engines, so, they've got a lot of stuff, handicapped people parking within 20 feet. They've had the heating system, within 20 feet. And the building adjacent to them is within 20 feet. And the lot line is within 20 feet.
What would it cost to move it?
If we moved it, we would have to take it down. It would no longer be practical because the lot would no longer be usable. And even though the church is the tenant of the lot, during the week, we have that lot opened up and the tent is roped off. And that lot is used there's a thrift store next door. There's the Bait and Tackle, who's our neighbor. They use the lot. They use it for parking all week long. So if we put the tent in the middle of the lot, it would become unusable. And the property line, so the wall of the tent, when it was put up by the team that put it up, they measured it to put the wall at 20 feet, not realizing that the anchor points were what had to be 20 feet. You know, the handicap parking, if we had to, we could have those people park in front of the office. We could rope that off just for handicap parking. The heater, we have, I believe it is a 14-foot hose, but we could probably get a longer one if we really had to for the heating. But ultimately, it really comes down to the property line. If we had to move those anchor points 20 feet from that line, the tent would have to come down and these people wouldn't be able to meet for church on Sundays.
There's a lot of life safety features here that are not being met. So are there other mitigating factors that you could put in place that will help offset those requests? It's a big ask, in my opinion. I don't know what else we could talk about. I talked about a fire watch. It's only one service on a Sunday, but the setback is close. What's the building next to it, right on the property line?
So right on the property line is a bait and tackle shop.
Okay. Does he store anything in the back? I mean, is there any combustible?
No, he has a sailboat in the back. That's
Sailboat,
and a
okay.
bunch of coolers that he sometimes has minnows in.
I completely understand your situation. Unfortunately, I mean, the code issues are mounting every time we ask a question. So it could not comply if you moved it to the center of the lot because of the guy wires and the setbacks and then the need for parking. There's no way you can help check some of these boxes off to have compliance.
No, if we brought the tent into compliance with the code, the tent would no longer be practical and we would have to take it down because the lot wouldn't be usable at all. we could fit it, but it would literally have to be square in the middle of the lot, which would then be in front of the apron for the entrance to the parking lot. So it would no longer, it wouldn't be safe.
And you're actively pursuing another location for your
Yes.
120. So I think I heard you correctly before that the existing building is for offices only?
So that we have an office in there that, you know, for all the administrative work, all of that is done in that space, as well as during the week, there's different ministries that meet in there. There's prayer nights that meet in there. The tent is really just used for the corporate Sunday gatherings.
All right. I mean, I don't have any other questions. Any other board members have questions?
No.
No? Okay, we're gonna have to go talk this out and we'll come back with a decision.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson, Miss Miller, are we on board?
Yes.
Okay. That was quite a bit to talk about. We're back on the record. Let me just read some information with respect to petition number 2023-0431. Petitioner was seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the 2020 the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 3103.5, and 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 3103.8.2. The board made some findings due to the fact that we don't have sufficient evidence from the inspection in the form of inspection reports and code violations from the town of Brookhaven Fire Prevention Division and the building department, who are the authority having jurisdiction in this matter. We are proposing a motion for an adjournment until this information can be properly obtained. Also, we want a representative from the Fire Prevention Division and the building department to appear at the next hearing to speak on behalf of this petition. So with that being said, at this time, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we had a lot to consider here, and it's a really big ask. So what we're doing, rather than denying you, we're asking for an adjournment to get the town more involved and get us the information that we need with proper code violations so we can properly assess this variance request. You understand what we're saying?
Absolutely. And if there's anything more that we need to provide, who would we send that to?
Courtney.
Mr. Courtney Nation?
Okay.
Right now, what the board, this is Courtney, right now what the board is asking is that the town perform its duties as the authority having jurisdiction. Visit the site and tell us what the violations are. Well, as of right now, you aren't clear, and the board isn't clear as to what exactly the violations are.
Yeah, the
And
ticket,
what they
excuse
need
me.
to comply.
Yeah, the ticket just said no CO. And I know you mentioned in testimony that there was zoning concerns and zoning violations, but we need to know the New York State Fire Code violations and the building code violations for us to make a proper assessment on all of this stuff.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Thank you very much.
Anything you want to add?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Good job.
You going to the other side, Erica, or no?
I'll go to the other side.
Yeah, let's go to the other side.